Hey YouTube, back again, another video. Wanted to bring this out to everybody's attention. We get quite a few customers that are concerned about having to pull the valve body to replace their wiring harness and their master solenoid service kit. You can actually access the wiring harness and replace your Overdrive TCC lockup solenoid group from the bottom with the valve body in place. At this point, the only reason to pull the valve body was for a valve body replacement, installing a shift kit or a transaction kit, or accessing the detent arm on the top or the throttle valve plate. You know, any reason you had to get to the top of the valve body, then you could pull it all down. I'm just going to give you a quick 1-2 of how to run through this. Bottom of the valve body, this is just a section of it. Obviously we've disassembled one here. Filter inlet hole. As I rotate this up, here's your 3/4 accumulator plate that we covered in another video. On this plate, or this housing I should say, you've got 3 Torx bits. Loosen these bolts. The wiring harness connector mounts to the top side here by the 1 bolt. Now the only thing you got to remember is before you try to pull that down, disconnect your external harness on the outside of the case, and that'll keep you from breaking the connectors as you try to draw this down. I'm going to be right back in just a moment and show you how she comes apart. Okay, I'm back with you here. We got it apart. Here's the housing removed just to recover this. They are T25 bolts or screws, however you want to terminology wise. So the housing came straight out, but when I got to the center screw, I took both ends off first. The center screw, because of this very long, fairly high tension spring, the housing itself was spring loaded, so I actually had to keep, if you see these 2 positions here where these bolt holes are, if you keep fingers on there and when it's together, wrap the whole palm of your hand around the 3/4 accumulator spring plate, you should be able to hold that housing and still, let me just demonstrate here, and still be able to reach that final screw when you're drawing it out, or you may have to use an angle or a swivel with a small, like a 3/8 or 1/4 inch drive ratchet. But just be ready for that. It's under a little bit of force, and then as she starts to come out, just ease it straight out, and you're going to have clearance because you've got the case here too. So you may even have to go underneath with a flat screwdriver, relieve some of the pressure on that spring, and then pull the housing straight out. Then don't be afraid to pull the spring out of your way. On this side, you're going to have an aluminum plug. So again, as it's under tension, you've got dual action here. This one isn't under nearly as much pressure, but make sure not to lose this little plug, a stationary fixture. When it's on the truck, it should be a little bit easier, but it's still going to be a bit of a challenge if it's just one guy doing it by himself. If you've got an extra set of hands or somebody that can help you out with this step, it should only take a couple minutes, but it's definitely going to be worth having an extra body there. Primarily just to compress this spring and keep it straight and under tension while you line it back up, because remember, you've still got to also put this plug in and insert it, and then fixture the housing back into place. So let me show you an assembled valve body. I'll be right back here. You can see here's the wiring harness routed through the 3/4 accumulator plate, and then again here's your bolts, 1, 2, and 3. And just to note, here's the aluminum plug that I showed earlier in the video. It doesn't quite drop into the pocket. It's sitting on the shoulder over here. On top of this housing, let me bring this one up, is where the screw is to mount the wiring harness connector without a way to securely fixture it. It has a little bit of give, where what it does is if you're pulling the valve body, it allows you to help line up when you're going through the case connector hole, and these O-rings here will seal against the case to keep all the fluid contained inside the unit. So again, not to cover the same thing multiple times, but I hope this helps you guys, and email us your questions through our website. That would be great, and maybe we can help you in the future. Take care. Make sure to seat the case connector before you try to bolt it up. And then just take your time getting that spring back into place. Email us your questions through the website. We'll be happy to help.